Well, you know, oh me, not much. Just, you know, just hanging out a little bit. Oh, well, maybe I'll go visit the folks and see what they're up to. Well, I didn't see you there. You guys, I was just driving around in my truck and I ran into you guys. Welcome to Gavin Games. We'll start the show in just a second. I will tell you this though. That's good. I'll tell you this. Uncensored Maverick says, Jaffe, how are you not playing the RE remake right now? Well, the thing is, the Diablo beta was this weekend, right? So, and it was the last time it will be available until June, as far as we know, for the Gen Pop. That's us. Unless you're watching from Blizzard, you son of a bitch. And so I wanted to kind of level up my Barbarian, which I did. I still could not kill this one guy. There was this one monster. You have to kill these 3 like blizzard creatures that are causing a blizzard, and then you got to kill him. And I was up to level 25, and I, like last night, it was like 11:30. I had to go to bed, and he was down to about half health, and that's as far as I got. But I fucking loved it, man. I thought it was fantastic. But yeah, so RE4, I will start playing very, very soon. I do want to try to finish the Fire Giant and Elden Ring, but I got it. I'll get around to it. And I am looking forward to it, but I'll probably play it this week, probably stream it this week. Yes, Random Moose, thank you for being a member for 29 goddamn cockadoodie months, buddy. He says the 3DS Wii Shop is closing down. Yeah, as of today. As of today, it's closing down. Which, I mean, you've had, you know, plenty of time to get in there if you wanted something. But, you know, some people are still, like, complaining about it, which I get. I appreciate that. But my understanding, though, is that, you know, you've had 6 months, so get what you need, and you know what I'm saying? When are the BAFTA awards, Steven? Oh shit, I gotta move my truck. They told me I gotta back up. Hang on, I'll be right back. Well, welcome to Gavin and Games. Let me move my truck back there. Let me get this off the screen right here because it's distracting me. Let's put that over there. There we go. Hey, stop playing. By the way, that was our very own alixplox playing the River City Rumble. I believe that's what we called it, from a Quake Zone or some such nonsense, but it's a great version. Alex has a bunch of albums. We'll talk about Alex a little bit later today in the show. The BAFTA awards are the 30th. I may be streaming them. We'll see. We'll see. You know, I think awards are mostly stupid. I did see that Shuhei Yoshida is getting one, like a lifetime or something, and that's, you know, that's worth celebrating. So I may show up for that. Lutron says, "What's up, Jaffe? What's up, Chad? How did the Last Stand Media show go?" You know, they've not announced it yet, so all I can tell you is I did a show with those guys, which I enjoy very much. But I don't know if I can talk about it just yet. Hello, Nicola. He says, Jaffe, how much love you from Serbia? Thank you, buddy. He says, will you have lower membership levels anytime soon? Yes, there will be a either 99-cent tier or 199 tier going very, very soon. In fact, that's what I was working on all weekend long, is getting all that set up. So it's coming. We just don't have it yet. Welcome to the show, you old knuckleheads. I was listening. Oh my God. I can't tell you guys a story. I got to tell you, this has nothing to do with video games other than why this show's late. I really am trying to do the show earlier and earlier because that's when my brain is on fire. And so I go to bed at 11 last night. I set my Alexa to wake me up at 8, and I figure, or maybe 9. And I says, well, that's good. I'll get up. I'll have time to prep the show. I can go live at 1 o'clock. Knock, knock, knock. Ace goes crazy. 6:45 a.m. what the fuck is going on? What the fuck is going on? I go to the door. There's a cop there. Okay, well, I check around. My kids are at the home. I'm like, oh shit, is my ex okay? What the fuck is going on? I open the door. There's 3 cops there. There's 3 cops there. And there's a social worker. And they want to know if my daughter lives here. And I'm like, yes, she does. And apparently this absolute nutbag of a guy she was dating, and they just broke it off. And we've discovered, or she's discovered, that he's kind of not, all there. He had sent them around for like a wellness check. And it's like, she's like, no, she comes out and, she's like, no, I'm totally fine. Everything's good. And they're like, okay. You're like, yeah, you gotta look into this guy. He's fucking with you guys. So I'm just saying, I've never actually had that. I've seen it in the movies where the cops knock on the door and you're like, oh shit, somebody's dead. Somebody's fucking dead. But it turns out, thank God, it was just some teenage kid who's, I don't know, his heart's broken or his brain's broken. Who the fuck knows? But everything's good. The point being, though, I'm running a little bit late today, and I apologize for that. I'm really trying to get earlier. Totally sick of onions. Hey, buddy, 29 months. My God, sir. Died Soda Soldier. Appreciate that. He says, hey, I'm going to get a Twisted Metal tattoo. Nice. In Thailand. What should I get? Oh, man, I don't know. I don't know what the goal is. A lot of people get Sweet Tooth as a tattoo. If you want something a little more unique, I mean, maybe Calypso or Dollface, maybe Sweet Chick if you want a girl. I don't know. Dean H, thank you for the super chat from Mariel London. I appreciate it, buddy. Very, very kind, very, very courteous. Thank you, sir. Getting the show off to a good start. Jojo D says, hey, what's up with WrestleMania? When is that going to be happening? Hang on, you can't read what he's saying. When is that happening, Jaffe? Are we doing something special? We are going to do something special for WrestleMania. It'll probably be some part of Jaffe Mania, but I haven't figured it out yet. We'll get back to it. I love the trailer you cut for it, and we'll talk about that soon. Okay, Dean H says, use that $1 to shave your beard. You know what? I don't think I will, you fuckface. I'll tell you what. Oh, my God, it's hot in here, though. Hoo-wee. Oh, my God, it's hot in here. Yeah, you goddamn right. You goddamn right. People think I'm a terrorist now like this. This is like the terrorist look, I understand. Okay. We got a lot to talk about today. Good to see everybody. Thank you for being here with me. Let's talk about the video games that we all know and that we all love. Let's begin, my good friends. Johnny says it's hot. No, I don't know if it's hot or my haircut. I can just tell you it's fucking comfortable. And it's not even hot here in San Diego. I just think it's very, very comfortable. As we get the show off to the beginning, I have to be very, very clear with you guys. There is no show without the great support and camaraderie and faith of all the members. And sitting at the top of that goddamn food chain are God of War members: Gravity, Logan the Lurker, Captain Geach, Rotten Tanuki, Zach Procrastinates, alixplox, and Big Bad Eddie Torres. Thank you guys so much for being supporters of this here show. I appreciate it very, very much. Now, here's what I was doing this weekend before the show started. We had people saying, Jaffe, why aren't you playing Resident Evil 4? Which I know, as you know, that came out this week. I own it. I have it. I played the demo. I liked it a lot, and I will play it. But over the weekend, I was playing Diablo 4, which shut down at noon today. So that's kind of it until it releases in June. So I absolutely wanted to play that. I was playing this game, and I finished it, which isn't really much of a like, whoa, Jaffe finished a game. It's literally like 2 hours long. This is Storyteller, which even though it's a short game, it'll cost you about $14. I absolutely adore it. It was just a delightful game to play. I played this on Steam. I'm sure it's coming to consoles. I think it's on Switch. Really, really fun. I played the crap out of that. If you don't know what this is, it's like it gives you comic book panels, and all it does is it gives you like a title at the top. In this case, the title is The Queen Marries a Fearsome Dragon. And then you have these story points below. Like you can have a set which is of a wedding or a kidnapping or somebody putting on a disguise, and you have these two characters, the Queen and the Baron. And that's all you've got in these 6 panels to tell that story in a way that satisfies the win condition. And it's just a really unique puzzle game. I've never had these particular brain buttons pushed before in a video game, and I enjoy it very, very much. That's called Storyteller. I want to tell you one more thing we played this weekend, and I didn't know what to expect. Me and Rob the Mod and Gravity and Prism played this game called Alien Rescue. And what it is it doesn't have to be in VR, but it's built for VR, but I used a flat screen. And what it is they have live actors playing all the roles except you and the people you bring in. And there's like 4 live of us, and everyone else were actors. And so it's kind of like a cross between a multiplayer shooter mixed with D&D, mixed with LARPing, mixed with like interactive theater. And I watched the trailer and I'm like, okay, this could be really stupid. The trailer wasn't very good in terms of making you go, this is worth doing, but I'm a sucker for unique video game designs and I wanted to give it a try. This was a lot of fucking fun. I'm just going to show you a little clip from this weekend. This is currently on the members only section, and it'll be opening up to everyone in a couple of days. But it was genuinely fun. I got the sense from talking to Rob and Gravity and Prism that they enjoyed it. They were surprised by how much they enjoyed it, as I was. And yes, it's kind of goofy. I mean, next time I'm going to do it again, and I'm going to play the character very straight, like I'm going to be a spy or something, and I'm going to want to kill all the NPCs or something. But in this case, let me just show you a couple of seconds. We were in a enemy base, and we were trying to find this animal that we had to extract that had these abilities. And this is what happened in this little moment, okay? It was funny. Jeeves says it seems like it would be funny if you're playing with the right people. It absolutely 100% was funny. But it doesn't, but after you got over the nervousness and sort of weirdness of like, am I supposed to pretend I'm this guy? And you just said, fuck it, I'm going to do it. It was quite compelling. This was us playing this weekend. Here was us in the base.
Spoke of some really good stuff, and I was hearing some screaming.
Huh.
Let me turn it up.
Actually, could you?
So that woman there is an actor playing one of the characters, and she's like, there's this one guy who was a rabbit guy named Baxter, and she's like, go check and see what he's doing at the table.
Yeah, just don't let Z in on it, man. This is sack lyric. Okay. It's a drug, man. You
And he's like taking leaves from the botanical thing, and they're drugs. He's going to sell them. And then she finds out about it, and it becomes this whole kind of thing, and I end up shooting him and killing him.
I told you. I don't fucking trust him.
All right, let's go take care of this.
And so she's just trying to take it easy with him, but it ends up becoming a thing, and we kind of twist the narrative.
Told me that you guys are.
And anyway, this will be available to watch. My point is, I was surprised by how much I enjoyed role-playing in a space like this, because it really was interesting that it felt, I mean, it wasn't a great game by any means, but it felt like you were playing a co-op shooter. But all these other characters really were taking you on this really cool narrative. So I recommend it. It'll cost you $30 to play a hero role. I'll be interviewing the guy who created and directed this because I just thought it was really fucking cool. This is called Meta Movie Alien Rescue, and this will be up if you want to watch me and Rob, Gravity, and Prism play it in a couple of days. Dark Sia, thank you so much, buddy. Been a Diet Soda member for 10 months. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Also, I have to let you know, I have this thing is not working today. Come on now. I have to let you know that we have a brand new Diet Soda Soldier. I don't know if the big message popped and shit. On the off chance it didn't, well, fuck it. Here it is. Maybe this will do it. Maybe this will do it. Nah, it's not working. Fuck it. The point is, thank you so much, Dean H. He is ponying up to the bar. He says, I would like to be a Diet Soda Soldier, and I appreciate that, buddy. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today and being part of our community and helping support the show. Everybody give Dean H a pickle tickle, show him where the horse bit you, and of course, give him an emote of your choice. I would appreciate it. Thank you, Dean. Okay. Yes, that game is multiplayer. Wayne B and Buck Schneider, all you guys who are like, oh, this is so boring. Oh, this is so boring. Fuck you is my answer to you guys, because you're just such basic humans, right? You're such basic fucking humans. It's like video game. You know what? You know what? The games you love so much. I mean, put a little fucking respect on your comments when it comes to this medium. The games you guys love so much, they were birthed out of the innovation and shit that looked like crap to you, but at the time, it was innovative. That is how the media moves forward. And there's no respect for it. There's no respect. This may not be a game you want to play, but the idea of taking a virtual reality environment, turning it into an interactive play and a shooter, if your brain doesn't light up when I tell you that, then you're just not a gamer. You're just not a goddamn cockadoodie gamer. And that's fine. You don't have to be, but stop pretending that you are, because it makes me sick. Dean, good buddy. He says, Jaffe, what are your thoughts on GTA having development issues? Insiders are saying the game will be smaller than the previous ones and updates post-launch. I mean, first off, you know, I don't know how much of that is accurate, how much of that is true about Grand Theft Auto 6. But my thoughts are that a lot of the key people have left, and we'll talk later in the show today about one of the main producers of Grand Theft Auto 3 and onward, who has set up this brand new game in this brand new studio, which I think is going to have its lunch handed to it, or its it's going to get its ass kicked because they're a little too late to the party, but we're going to talk about that. But as for GTA, you know, who's developing it? I mean, I know it's Rockstar, but haven't all the key guys and ladies moved on? So it wouldn't surprise me, but I don't know anything about that. What I can tell you, though, is that somebody can swoop in there. I mean, think about that. Sony's always like, you know, okay, you can't go up against Call of Duty. Fine. You're going to have no choice, but you have to. Isn't it time somebody really planted a fucking flag and said, we're going to make an open world Grand Theft Auto competitor? I don't even understand that. I mean, Sony could do it, knock it out of the fucking park. Knock it out of the fucking park. Okay. The getaway wasn't really that, though. Here's the problem with Sony. The problem with Sony is they think everything has to be run through the we're artist and storyteller filters. Now, I'm not saying that Grand Theft Auto, especially the last one, didn't blow itself, you know, because it's like, look, we're telling a narrative and all that. But it never forgot that it was also, for most people, just a fucking sandbox simulator where you went to have fun. And the getaway wasn't really that. The getaway was Brendan McNamara going, look, I'm a filmmaker. That's basically what it was. That's basically fucking what it was. And I got nothing against Brendan McNamara, although I hear he's not a very good manager. But I think it needs to be something that is, you know, most people play GTA now for the online and the sandbox. It's not about, I want to know what happens to Tommy. I mean, I'm not saying the story is not important. I'm saying that if it were Sony making it and they don't get out of their own way, that would dominate it. And I think that's a real fucking problem. The biggest GTA threat, says Billy Whitaker, was Cyberpunk, and that was a train wreck. Yeah, but it ended up being great. It's not an open world GTA game in a lot of ways, but I still loved the new Cyberpunk once it got its shit together. But yeah, it's not an actual competitor. Dean, talking about GTA, says, I heard a lot of veterans left the studio, Jaffe. I don't think it's the same Rockstar. No, of course not. Take-Two is getting greedy and I think driving out their key talent. I don't know if it's Take-Two. Whenever I hear Strass Zelnick talk, he seems like he knows where his bread is buttered and what needs to happen. I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that the key guys, what were the brothers' names? The whoever those guys were, you know who I'm talking about. I can't. Their names are not coming to me right now. I guess, you know, how many more the Hauser brothers, right? how many more mountains can you climb before you get tired of climbing mountains? I mean, and how much more money do they need? How much more influence? They've done it. They've achieved it. They're looking for new pastures, I would imagine. So, and then there were a number of people like that. But one guy did get back into it. We'll talk about that producer coming up in just a little bit. Now, listen, tomorrow, I will probably be streaming it, although it depends. But I'm going to let you know, 10 a.m. California, no, oh my God, 7 a.m. California time. Fuck that, I ain't streaming shit. But it'll be part of all of the Gabbin' and Games tomorrow. But there's a Tears of the Kingdom 10-minute showcase from Nintendo coming tomorrow. They're going to just show nothing, but it's the first proper video game showcase for that game. It's hosted by the game's producer, the series producer, E.G. Anuma? It's 10 minutes long, blah, blah, blah. So give it a watch. I mean, I'm going to watch it because I is a guy who loves Elden Ring, and there are a lot of open world games I love, Miles Morales, Ghost Tsushima. You'd think this would be right up my alley, but I cannot, for the life of me, ever get into any Zelda game that is 3D. I've tried Breath of the Wild. I've tried Majora's Mask. I've tried Ocarina. I've tried to get through Ocarina ad nauseum. I just can't connect with these games, but I'm going to give it a watch with good faith. We'll talk about that on tomorrow's show, but that is tomorrow at 7 a.m. By the way, though, back to GTA briefly. I want you to know that one of your fellow commenters, I think it was Radical Desi, says, hey, I still enjoyed all the open world games, the GTA clones and stuff. Yeah, I'm not saying they're bad games. I'm just saying that it does seem that with the key guys going, I wonder who they're going to replace him with. Who's the real visionary now on that thing? Are you going to talk about Diablo 4? Says me, no. I mean, there's not much to talk about. I'll give you my thoughts. My thoughts are I really enjoyed it. I played it last week. I played it this week. I maxed out my barbarian. I wasn't able to do all the things that you're capable of doing in the beta, the demo, or whatever the fuck they called it. But what I played, I loved, and I'm glad I pre-ordered it, and I will be playing it when it comes out in June. So it's addictive. It's got the great loop. I saw a number of people online this weekend talking about, it's pretty boring at the beginning. What do you like about this? And I'm like, yep, same with me. You got to give it a little time, which I think is terrible. But that's the way it is in this game. I don't like games like that. That pisses me off. But even with that, I stuck it out, and it got great after about 45 minutes. And now I'm addicted to it. So I'm looking forward to it. And that was sort of my take on it. It's interesting. Not MJJ says Skyward Sword on Switch is a good starter Zelda. The funny thing is about Zelda is I have played and finished almost every 2D Zelda, and I adore it. I adore the 2D Zeldas. I think Link Between Worlds is probably the best Zelda game ever made, even better than Link to the Past. I played the very first one. I remember finishing Legend of Zelda 2 the day I got my acceptance letter into college when I was in high school. That whole day burned into my brain. I'm a huge Zelda fan. I just don't like the 3D ones. Brett Williams, thank you, buddy. He's been a member for 7 months. He says, just wanted to say your head is looking particularly round today. He says, you little cutie. You so-and-so. You're making me blush and tingle in places I'd rather not be tingling and blushing. Thank you, Brett, for that support. I appreciate it, buddy, very, very much. Yeah, I hear Sleeping Dogs is great, but I haven't played it. All right, listen to this. E3, we hardly knew you. That's not true. I went to almost every single E3 until, I don't know, once they started doing it in Santa Monica for a few years in hotels, I never really recovered all that much. But I remember the E3 where we first unveiled God of War, and I was still married at the time. And my wife and I, it was the last day of E3. I was walking out of the booth, and we turned, and I said, I just want to really take this in, because I even knew back then that E3, I was never going to have the desire to work that hard on a game and give up so much of what I had to give up personally for God of War. And so I remember just really taking that moment in, and you know, not only was I glad because of my own personal contributions and what it meant for me as somebody who developed games that were at E3, but just as somebody who loved E3. It was really one of the last E3s where it really was what made E3 great. So if you don't know, you know, E3's trying to make a comeback. Reed Pop, that produces the PAX show, has said, we'll take it on. And I was kind of semi-excited because PAX was just this weekend, PAX East. It's a well-run show. But this thing's a clusterfuck. So, you know, Sony was out, Nintendo's out, Microsoft's out. They're going to be doing a thing across the road on the 11th, which kicks off E3 Digital Week, I think. But then they were saying, yeah, don't worry, we got all these AAA guys. Ubisoft's going to be huge because they got a lot of shit they got to come back from and show people they're still a great company. Ubisoft announces today, they say, yeah, we're out. We're backing out of the E3 physical event, weeks after announcing they would attend it. The company says it has now decided to move in a different direction and will focus on Ubisoft Forward live event. So when they say it's live, if you don't remember, Ubisoft Live, if you look at your screen right now, this was the last Ubisoft Forward, okay? And it wasn't live, but it was these guys, it was all the developers on this kind of green screen and floor screen, almost like the Mandalorian dome. And they just kind of, you know, it's fine if you like the Ubisoft games. And they showed a bunch of trailers and a bunch of behind the scenes bullshit, blah, blah, blah. I don't know if they're just going to film that live or there's going to be an audience for it, but it's not like they're going to bring the whole, it doesn't say there's games to play. There's not kiosk. It's just a show that you can watch on your computer, which is fine. I mean, again, I don't understand why you would go to E3 at this point. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. Yeah, it's like State of Play or Nintendo Direct. Jeeves says it lacks the fanfare. All of that's true. It totally lacks the fanfare. And guess what? Nobody cares because things still sell. Everything still fucking sells, right? They're selling them faster than they can make them. So I get it that it sucks because that, you know, you miss that shit. Like Lyro says, damn, E3's a skeleton now. It is. It totally is. But I get it. I wouldn't go to E3 either if I was a publisher. I mean, all the people you got to send, all the money, all the fucking booths you got to pay for, the people's dinners, the bottle service and all that shit when they go out to entertain clients. Yeah, right. No, I get it. I get it. I do think there's money to be made for some kind of fan convention around games, but it ain't this. It ain't this. Radical Desi, that's interesting. He says, my younger family members already associate the entire month of June with Summer Game Fest by Keighley. They don't even know what E3 is. Isn't that amazing? Well, what I'll tell you is there's going to be a Keighley show, the Summer Game Fest. There's going to be Microsoft show, Ubisoft show, the game. What are they calling it? The future game show. On and on and on and on. There's going to be a lot of great streaming digital events and reveals around that time. So I'm still pretty excited for it. But, you know, I get it. Why would you not do it digital? I mean, PSX tried and it was great, but it probably was like, why are we doing this? Jim Ryan comes in and goes, yeah, it's nice. It's fun. The fans love it. But what's the point? I don't, that's not true. Silver Joystick. Silver Joystick says PAX exists now because E3 died. No, I think that PAX started well before E3 was in the decline. Back when Penny Arcade was kind of relevant. I think it was like 2004 or 3 was the first PAX. I could be wrong though. Did I play Dante's Inferno? I did. I hadn't finished it, but I really, really liked it. Mutimo, I agree. DC Fandom, that's dead. That didn't cost a lot of money to make, but that new guy came in, taking over HBO and Warner Brothers and saying, yeah, nah, we're done. We're done. Dean H says PlayStation needs a backup plan. I know for a fact Jim Ryan's working on something on the background to compete with Call of Duty. You mean a backup plan for Call of Duty or a backup plan for E3? Yeah. I mean, my understanding is Guerrilla is making a competitive shooter with the director of Rainbow Six Siege. So hopefully that'll be a pretty strong competitor. That's a great way of putting it, actually, not MJ. Almost all big event conventions are dying like shopping malls. They are. I mean, it's fascinating that what was his name? Radical Desi is like, yeah, my younger kids or siblings or whatever don't even know what E3 was. Think about that. That's amazing. So yeah, I mean, what was I in recently? I was in a experimental video game thing from Germany that was all in a 3D database and networked, and it was really low budget, and you still had to leave the database to go play the demos, but we're getting there. We're eventually going to be digital in very compelling digital conventions, and I can't wait for that. Okay. Let us move forward. Let's talk briefly about God of War. There's no news here other than no shit, duh, but it is interesting. Speaking of PAX, the guy who plays Tyr, I believe he did the motion capture as well, but he certainly did the voice. A fella who likes to go by the name of Ben Prendergast of the Cincinnati Prendergast says, hey, he was on stage. I think it was Ben. Was it Ben? No, he's the host. Who was the guy? No, it might have been Ben. I don't know. I don't know who it was. Let me find out for you. It was Ben. So he says he was discussing the role in God of War franchise. He casually threw this bit of info in towards the end. And I'll say this isn't the last you've seen of Tyr. And then he goes on to say he knows a little, but doesn't know much about the next game in the series when he was asked about it. So, you know, I mean, what? No shit, you're going to make a new God of War. It's not going to be set in Norse mythology. Nobody knows. I mean, people know, but I don't know where it's going to be set. I've been wanting it to go to Egypt for a very long time. That seems the obvious. I'd say this, the only reason they would not do Egypt is if they think that everybody's expecting it and they think there's value in a surprise. I don't know, though, where else they could go. I mean, Chinese mythology, Japanese mythology seem to be pretty well spoken for already with a bunch of games. You know, then you start getting into Indian mythology, which is interesting. Yeah, I don't know. Mayan would be dope. Yeah, I think India probably makes the most sense if you're not doing Egypt. Irish, I don't know anything about Irish mythology, truth be told. Hindu and Indian, yeah, I would agree. There are some crazy characters or gods or whatever in there that you can fuck around with. By the way, my nephew Daniel Crawford's in the chat. He says, thanks to my cool uncle. That's me. I got to go to E3. Pretty sure you snuck me in when I was young. Oh, you goddamn right. I took you and Scott both to E3. It was awesome. I think it was in Atlanta when we went. Okay. Oh, interesting. Joe, speaking of video games, obviously, what else are we talking about, Jaffe? He says, I saw a message from Miss Marvel's voice actress, Sandra Sad, thanking fans because the Avenger game service is coming to an end. Well, it's about time. It wasn't very good. Okay. Yeah, that's true, Jeeves, in regards to the Indian religion. He's got to be sensitive killing gods from religions that are still predominantly practiced, I guess. I mean, you're not wrong. You need to be, but you know, what's the statute of limitations on when we can kill your gods? We were going to put Jesus in the last one, but you know, that was my thought 2006. I don't think Sony would have ever actually allowed it. Okay, but anyway, there you go. So you got more God of War to look forward to if that is your cup of tea. All right. Microsoft has stepped up to the plate. I've played Raj. It was okay. I didn't love it. I liked what they were trying to do, Radical, but I felt it just didn't play great for me. I couldn't stick with it. Surprise, surprise. Microsoft says enough. And by the way, I get it. Microsoft says it has stopped its Xbox Game Pass $1 trial. This is coming from The Verge. Microsoft has pulled the Game Pass Ultimate PC Game Pass for $1. It's been available for years with brief periods where it wasn't. And now it's just going the way of the dodo in general. This is the quote from Carrie Perez, the head of communications. She says this, listen to her. She says, hey, We've stopped our previous introductory offer for Game Pass, Ultimate and PC Game Pass. We're evaluating different marketing promotions for new members in the future. Good, because now it looks like these guys are going to get a deal with Activision. Look, I'm serious. If Microsoft cannot sell you on $15 a month for a service that by the time Call of Duty gets on there and Crash and Starfield and Redfall, whatever the fuck they're doing, and on and on and on and on, and Diablo 4, eventually, then you were never going to subscribe in the first place. So I think that makes a great deal of sense that they're pulling the $1 trial. Absolutely. Lutron says, Jaffe, has Microsoft said why Diablo isn't day one Game Pass? Well, they don't own it yet. I mean, they're basic. Think about this. They're in 3 different, for the most part, trials or conundrums with regulatory bodies. The last thing they need to do is literally ruffle some feathers when it's as sensitive as it is right now. Now, I'm not suggesting that is exactly what's happening, but given that that's going on and that makes sense, and they don't actually own it, they don't have the rights to it yet, I'm assuming that's kind of what it is. But anyway, the point is, yeah, if you don't want to spend $1, you ain't going to spend $15. It's a great service, it's a great deal, especially now that they got Activision. I don't know what they need to do at this point to turn you into it if you actually are potentially able to be turned into it. All right, listen to this. Now, there's a surprising little story. I'm going to tell you. Silent Hill 2 Remake is a poisoned chalice, says former series writer Sam Barlow. Now, this is why it's interesting to me. Sam Barlow, I didn't know Sam Barlow wrote on Silent Hill. If the name Sam Barlow sounds familiar to you, Video Games Chronicle has a story about it. He says he's best known for directing and writing Her Story, Telling Lies, and Immortality, which was a big indie darling and award darling in 2022. He previously was the writer and designer, I did not know this, of Silent Hill Origins on PS2 and Silent Hill Shattered Memories on the Wii and the PS2. Now, I remember playing both of those for a little bit and not really sticking with them. But now that I know what this guy has done, this afternoon I was like, oh, I want to play those again because I'd like to, see if some of his magic was evident that early on, or it just, he couldn't do his magic with this franchise. I don't fucking know. But I can't find them. They're on no digital services right now. So, in an interview with PC Games In, Barlow was asked about Konami's upcoming slate of Silent Hill titles. He says, I don't envy the Bloober team. He says, personally, I'm less excited about playing a remaster. It's also like the biggest poison chalice in video games, doing a remaster of Silent Hill 2. I agree. It's just like I always say about SOCOM. He says, good luck to him because I don't know how you can do that without upsetting people. I think that's absolutely true. I think you've got too many expectations and too many people who have nostalgia goggles on for that game and love it for a variety of reasons that the developers probably never even put in there to begin with. So I think he's right. He then goes on to say, though, and this I thought was interesting. He says, the version of Silent Hill that I would love, which sounds like they're kind of pushing, is if we use this platform to have a range of interesting psychological horror games, he says. Actually, can we see a breadth of gameplay like the Twilight Zone? And those kind of anthologies give you a sense of what you're getting yourself in for, but you're also excited to see the different ways in which they can be explored. And that is happening. Silent Hill Townfall, which is Annapurna's publishing it. Silent Hill F, which is a 1960s Silent Hill. And Silent Hill Ascension, which is described as an interactive streaming series where the entire community shapes the canon of Silent Hill. All of that is happening, along with a new movie, which I guess is a movie based on Silent Hill 2, and then the Bloober game. So I'm just glad they're going to start doing something with the brand beyond just a remake. But I agree. My goodness gracious. I guess you can look at Resident Evil 4 and say that didn't piss people off. Resident Evil 2 didn't really piss people off. Maybe they're aiming for that. But not to be a dick, but Bloober ain't Capcom development. You know what I'm saying? Game Informer says Wallace Shawn got crap for their Silent Hill review. Their original one, I don't remember that. What did they say? Eric says SOCOM is pretty basic third-person shooter. It is now, but back in the day, it was semi-revelatory. Couldn't be that hard to do. Sony needs good shooter. I don't think, Eric, what Sam Barlow is saying is that it's hard. In terms of just simply making it, he's saying that when you get a game that is sort of immersed in trapped in amber for decades, people begin to remember it in ways that are more personal than literal. And so you're going to have a very hard time pleasing that fan base versus just making something that's not new. Lord Valger says, well, to be pedantic, I think RE Remake was a big miss. That's fine. I respect you didn't like it. I happen to love it. However, the news came out today that Resident Evil 4 did great. The remake did better than the original Resident Evil 4 when it launched on GameCube. But I mean, you know, it's more hardware that runs the new one. But they also said that it didn't surpass the sales of Resident Evil 2 Remake. Most people that I've spoken with and most reviews that I've read look at Resident Evil 2 as the remake as a pretty big success. So while I appreciate it wasn't for you, I would say you are in the minority when it comes to the way you felt about that game. Sony and Microsoft need to focus on new IP, says Cyclown. I have no interest in a new SOCOM. I personally would like to see something new. I agree. I mean, look, literally in this chat, we've got a guy who says his younger family members don't even know what the fuck E3 is. So the number of people every year that give a fuck about a new SOCOM get less and less and less and less. So yeah, I'm with you, man. I would just make a new fucking shooter. And I'm sure that's what they're going to do. I can't imagine they would make a fucking SOCOM remake. Right, Jeeves, I think that's a great point. Cult classics often get put on a pedestal, deserving or not. Totally true. Totally true. Gravedigger says, I don't know why they're starting with Silent Hill 2. Kind of seems like a cash grab. Well, everything is a cash grab. It's a business. It's the same reason probably, I don't really know if this is true, but Resident Evil Remake started with 2. I will tell you, I would love to see Resident Evil 1 remade like 2. And I would love to see Revelations 1 and 2 made like 2 and 3 remake. But I don't know why they didn't. And I've seen people going, wrong, remake 5, remake 6. No, go back to 1. Go back to Veronica. Go back to the ones that were, you know, where the remake will be different enough because of camera and you have to do the maps again and all that, that it would really kind of introduce some new elements, but still keep the essence. They didn't remake 1. You're talking about kind of they remade it, but I mean remake it in the style of RE2. I don't mean remake it like better graphics and better audio and all that shit. No. Or that, Carlos. Carlos says, just give me Resident Evil 9 already. It's true, although Village just came out. But yeah, unless I'm totally missing something, I'm almost certain Capcom has never remade RE1 as a over-the-shoulder shooter like RE2 and RE3. I don't think that exists. And then they should do Dino Crisis. Come on, man. All right, let's move on. Speaking of Resident Evil, you may have seen this. What are you trying to tell me? You're saying 2015. I don't know what you're saying. Are you saying that it exists as anything other than a remaster? They remade it but kept fixed angles. Oh, right. Yeah, but you know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the fucking RE2 remake formula. Okay. Resident Evil 4 remake data miner was going through the files and the code, and he finds something that says separate ways. It's a DLC reference. People knew this was coming. The original Resident Evil 4 had Separate Ways, which was their extra game mode, but that wasn't DLC. That was on the disc. But I guess they're going to be doing Mercenaries mode is coming in April, and then they're doing VR DLC for PSVR 2, and I guess then they're going to be doing the Ada in-game story where when her and Leon split up in RE4, it's the adventure she goes on. And I guess they're doing it with the same remake style that they did 4 with, which again, I haven't played yet. I own it. I played the demo, really enjoyed it. But you know, I there's a lot of other shit I'm playing. But I will be playing it this week, maybe even tonight. Wasn't there a guy complaining RE4 is woke now? I mean, everybody's complaining everything's woke now. I think, you know, is it woke? Based on what I understand, it is no longer sort of a male gaze fantasy like it was, in terms of being able to look up Ashley's skirt and see her panties and, you know, putting her in a dumpster and talking about her boobs and all that shit. If that's woke to you versus just a company that says, hey, we're now a big industry and we weren't before, so we were tailoring specifically to one audience, then I guess that's woke to you. But for me, I just look at it and go, well, there's more people playing games now, and that is kind of, you know, it's kind of lame. It's fun if you're kind of in that world and you're watching like a cheesy B movie kind of thing and all that. But that's not how they've been positioning RE, especially the remakes and stuff. They're trying to make it like a more of a prestige game. It's still a little cheesy, but you know, I get it. I get that. I don't think that's woke. I just think that's business, you know? And there's a lot of, look, man, there is a lot of very old school 70s, 80s, 90s, in this case, early 2000s, sort of games are just for guys, games still being made out there. Not on AAA, but you can find them if you really miss it. Wayne B says, why not offer sexy men to the ladies and gays as a trade-off? My understanding is I've seen 3 articles so far this weekend where people are saying Leon is kind of a sex symbol, but he's not dressed like it, though. He's not running around in a pair of, you know, I don't know, a fig leaf or a pair of underwear. He's just Leon, right? But I don't know, and you know, I have no problem with games like that being made, but I also have no problem when companies go, the times have changed, we want to sell to a lot of people, and maybe even we find some of this stuff offensive if it's not really clear that it's kind of in a jokey way. Anyway, there you go. That's coming out. Ada Wong's Separate Ways DLC. Capcom has not commented. They haven't said this is a done deal, but they have pretty much put the another order, which was the Japanese name of that game when you translate it, but I guess over here it was called Separate Ways. So Dante's a sex symbol. Yeah, I guess so. I've heard people, I'm trying to think which Dante you're talking about, but yeah. Lero says, I'm tired of people that keep saying woke. It's like those people who ask for an easy mode for Elden Ring. Yeah, I mean, woke has so many problems as a piece of vernacular. I don't really think about it. Okay, let us move on. Listen to this. Speaking of dudes and their video games, I don't think I have played a Sims game ever. Like, other than fucked around with it when it first came out. It was boring. It wasn't for me. I moved on with my life. But obviously it's a phenomenon, blah, blah, blah. Well, the lead developer, this was so interesting. He was out at GDC last week and he was dog and ponying his new game. Guy's name is Rod Humble. His new game is a Sims-like game, but it really is, I don't know if it's going to succeed, but it's trying to do a lot of things to one-up the Sims and take the kind of life sim crown, okay? Here's the headline of the article, though. This was interesting. He says, former Sims lead says men would lie about how they played The Sims during focus groups. And here's some details. Listen to this. He says, all right, you guys are going to hike? All right, have fun, be safe. One reason people play Sims, life Sims, he says, is they offer non-committal ways to explore self-identity. Players can try on lifestyles and experiences they're curious about, but if they feel uncomfortable, they can always hit the eject button by deciding that they're playing a game about their sim rather than as their sim, right? And then he goes on to describe this focus test. This is so interesting. He says, I remember a bunch of young guys and they get into the focus test room after they'd played the game. It's a mixed up room with all these people who had played it. And we're like, okay, so what did you do when you played The Sims? And he says these guys were like, I murdered people. I went in and starved people. I had sex with everybody in the town. But actually, says Humble, what they did was redecorated their bathrooms. You're cooking, you're making house. That's what they did. They just didn't want anybody to know that that's what they were doing. Humble's new game is called Life by You. It's built on the understanding that people may not always want to acknowledge what they do in life sims, even to themselves, or may at least want the option to feel that it's their sim people, not them making the decisions. Humble refers to this as an inherent and desirable tension of the genre. He says, if you hear us talk about playing a life sim, we'll often alternate between first and third person. He says, so I will say, I asked Jeffrey on a date, we went on our date, and my person messed up the date. And so they'll change when they're describing their experience from me as the player versus my agent doing something. And that tension is where there's a lot of magic in life simulations. You're going back and forth between, am I playing this person or is that a little creature that I've got control over? In Life by You, last thing I'll say, and I'm very interested in this game. It's possible to literally switch to a first-person perspective to directly control any character on the street. And this is different from Sims. You can't do that in Sims. Exploring the open world and making decisions as the people that you've created or on their behalf, depending on the metaphorical point of view you adopt. Again, this kind of goes back to a lot of stuff when I talk about games being very powerful and having sort of metaphor, and a lot of people just go, dude, it's a fucking game, whatever. And a lot of, don't realize how much meat is on the bone of some of these things. I remember when we were first doing PS1 games, and we literally would have discussions and debates that went on for days about what's more powerful, a first-person perspective or a third. Is the third more powerful because you can relate to the character because you can see them getting hurt, you can see their faces, blah, blah, blah? Or is the first person more powerful because you're actually in their eyes and you're living their life? And so we never, obviously, there's no defined deal on that. A lot of people are different with their answer. But that's what I'm saying. There's so much stuff that people don't really think about that happens when you have interactivity. And I love that this guy is sort of really, I don't know if the game's going to be good, but I like that he's bringing that kind of wisdom about this genre where he's saying a lot of things that make me a lot more interested. The last thing he says, Humble told me, not me, but the reporter, that players can override the default gender, sexual orientation, age, skin color distributions in their towns, adjusting pie charts to create custom demographics. Another angle on explorations of identity. Players can make something representative of the place they live in real life, or a town where everyone is in love with one specific person, or a town in which everyone is gay. Non-binary and trans identities are represented as well. The last thing he says, they won't put sex in the game, but he's all for sex mods on PC. So if people make them, the game will run them. They won't get rid of them. So this sounds like a less, corporate version of a life sim, which I think is cool. I think it's very, very cool. It's a cool idea, but making it's going to be hard. Well, they're already making it. I mean, I'm not sure when it's coming out, but I mean, if you look at your screen, you can see it. I mean, these are screen grabs from it. Actually, that's The Sims. Here's screen grab. This is Life by You. Here, let me see if they have a date for when this is coming out. Yes to sex mods and privacy. No to gender roles. There's Life by You. They say there's a lot more role playing in it than usual in The Sims. When are they putting this fucking thing out? When is this fucking coming out? Oh, okay. It's coming early access in September, so we'll be able to play it and see if they actually pulled it off. CW, go fuck yourself. He says, Jaffe says, I'm interested in this game equals I'll play it for an hour and never touch it again. Definitive opinion incoming. Look, I'm sorry I'm that smart. I'm sorry my brain goes that fast and you're slow and you need time to sort of muddle things around. And every now and then I get it wrong, but it's rare. But the fact of the matter is, let me tell you what it's like. And I'm only semi-joking with you. I'm joking with you because you're being a dick, but I'm also not joking with you, which is this. You may know this, you may not know this. Professional musicians literally can walk onto a stage. Like if somebody calls you and says, hey, our third trumpet has COVID and we're recording the score for the new Indiana Jones movie. Can you come fill in for the week? We'll be down at, the London studios recording starting at 10 a.m. on Tuesday, whatever. It's not like there's months of rehearsal or days of rehearsal or hours of rehearsal. You show up, you get the sheet music, your education and your training and your experience allows you, even if you don't have any time to play, just warm up. You can read that music and play that music at a professional level without having had to practice it and only seeing it once. It's called cold reading. It's fascinating when you see somebody do it brilliantly. I worked in the industry for over 20 years. I've designed games for over 20 fucking years. If you think your ability to look at a game in the first hour is going to yield a result that is as complex and deep and ultimately thorough as mine, then you're just fucking lying to yourself. And that's fine. But, I'm sorry that I have the chops and the ability and the experience to judge things faster than you do. But go with God. Maybe you'll get better down the road. Okay. Jaffe, are you low-key working on a game right now? I'm not low-key working on one. We are talking about one and we're looking at developers for it. It may get made. It may not get made. But we'll see. We'll see. Listen to this. This is crazy. This is crazy. Oh, the bubbly baby. Listen to me. This is really cool and it's bad, but it's also interesting. So you may have heard this. MULTIVERSUS, which was a very big hit, which has been in beta, which didn't seem like it was a beta, but it was an open beta on all the systems. Big hit for about 4 months. And then it just cratered. Users on Steam right now. Let me tell you what's happening. On Steam right now, MULTIVERSUS. Now, again, it's on console. But right now, there were, as of an hour ago, there were 628 people playing. The peak in the last 30 days has been just over 1,000, 13 over 1,000. Its nearest competitor in terms of accessibility, even more accessible because it's free, whereas Smash Bros. Cost you money. Brawlhalla, which doesn't have, they have skins you can license, but it's, it's an original IP. An hour ago, they had about 12,000 people playing, and the peak players in the last 30 days was about 18,000. So it's dead and it's dying. Well, this is interesting. Most companies would shut that shit down. This feels like, when Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark, the Broadway musical opened and it just kind of exploded. Or other shows, it's like, well, we opened it, we ran it in a couple of cities, we're going to retool it. Literally, these guys are now taking it offline in April. It's going away. You can't buy it. You can't play it. All you can play is like the practice mode. And they're coming back, not in a week, not in a month, not in 6 months. They're coming back in a year and a half. Early 2024 is when this game will be back. The director said the long beta gave them a clearer view of what we need to focus on, such as a reworked progression system and the cadence of releases of new characters, updated netcode, and matchmaking improvements. We do know the news might be disappointing to all 1,000 of you, but rest assured it will be back. Thank you again to the entire MULTIVERSUS community. We greatly appreciate your passion and excitement and can't wait to share our next chapter with you. And I thought it was well made. It was fun, and reviews really liked it. A lot of people said this could actually be a Smash competitor. Now, I can't speak to Smash at the level that hardcore Smash players can, but I don't know if they would agree with that. But a number of reviewers were saying that. So it wasn't like this is a piece of shit. It wasn't sticky enough. Adam says, I hope it actually has stuff to do. Yeah, I don't know if that has to do with, better unlocks like in their battle pass or different modes or I have no idea. Silver Joystick says nothing competes with Smash, but it does. Brawlhalla doesn't compete with Smash necessarily for money made. I don't know what it made or what it makes every year in profit, but it's been running for well over 8 years. And I think that's a Ubisoft game, right? I think they own the developer of that game now. And that is consistently over 10,000 every hour, every concurrent, it's 10,000 give or take. So, there are competitors to Smash that work. I've yet to understand why this one didn't work. And I know there's a lot of people who think they know, and that's great. You should call them. I know a couple of people online that are constantly like, I know how this works. It's a formula. It's like, well, then you should call these people because Rumbleverse is shutting down and Knockout City's shutting down. All the Ubisoft games are shutting down. This is going behind the curtain for 16 months or whatever. What's the formula? They probably pay you really good money. So anyway, there you go. There's your multiverse story. Interesting. Listen, I want to tell you about something, but this is, I'm about to tell, oh my God, Jeeves, I would love that. Power Stone is my 4-player fighter. I would love somebody. Look, Sony, I don't know why they took on Smash when they made All-Stars or whatever it was called. Just make a Power Stone with Sony characters and be done with it. Yeah, Sweet Tooth says MultiVersus was fun for like the first week, then I deleted it. I didn't delete it that quickly, but I pretty much walked away though. Laser League did the same, says Radical, got re-released a few years after it failed. It still hasn't worked out though. Yeah, I mean some games just can't get a break, man, no matter how good they are. But yeah, what I'll tell you is we're about to talk about a news story that came out today that I think is such an interesting piece of inspiration for video games. And I would like to see this happening more. I'll tell you about that. I just want to tell you a couple things real quick first. I think you need to head on over to Day One Patch Kids. Day One Patch Kids is not just a sponsor of this here show. They make some of the goddamn cockadoodie, cutest, funniest, neatest little characters this side of the road. You know what this is. They got the t-shirts, the towels, the shower curtains, clocks, socks, everything you kind of want. And it's all Garbage Pail Kids meet crazy video game characters. Really, really good stuff. Highly recommended. All you got to do is type in day1patchkids.com. How hard is that? Answer, not hard at all. Give them a look. Give them a try, Day One Patch Kids. I want to also let you know the music at the top of the show is by our very own alixplox of the Ploxians. And he's got a lot of shit on YouTube. It's not just Quake Zone Rumble. He does very cool synth music. He does very cool 80s ambient synth stuff. He's got a couple albums over there, a couple singles over there. All of these things are listed in the link tree down below the about this video. Please go check Alex's stuff out. I guarantee that you'll like it. The last thing I want to let you know. Is check it out. The Elitist Podcast. There's a podcast with video game trivia. Do you think you're smart enough? I'm just going to play you 2 little clips. This is from their most recent podcast. You tell me if you can answer these 2 questions. And after that, we are going to talk about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and how something that they're doing with the new game is actually a pretty interesting North Star for a lot of other narrative single-player games that I think people should sit up and pay attention to. But first, I want you to tell me who's the first person to answer this question. This was them a couple days ago on episode 90 of the Elitist Podcast. Here you go.
I do.
I think you got a 0.
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know. All right, I'm up to the base bet. Is it a base? What do you
It's a
call it?
base,
The
yeah.
mound? Whatever. Let's do it.
We're a video game podcast.
Oh Jesus, it's
Grab
cocky.
my base bat. I'm ready to play basketball. All right, Kenny, kick a touchdown.
I'm up to bat and I'm ready to kick a touchdown. Here we go. All right, you ready,
You
Michael?
got my favorite headline of the day.
All right, are you ready? Let's go.
Yes, sir. Apparently, pre-order bonuses of blank in Japan will consist of a fork and spoon.
Oh no.
Pre-order bonuses in Japan, you'll get a fork and spoon. These were ads. These are news stories from the week before, if you really think you know about video game news. And they're trying to figure out what the answer is. What game, if you pre-order, gets you a fork and spoon? Adam says Breath of the Wild, meaning Tears of the Kingdom. Let's see if he's right.
Breath of the Wild 2. Tears of the Kingdom.
Tears of the Kingdom, correct.
There you go. Okay, last one. Here's the next one.
Launched WWE 2K23 as an unlockable action figure skin of blank.
Unlockable action figure skin of this character in the new WWE 2K23, the wrestling game. It's a skin that makes the character look, instead of human, it makes him look like an action figure with, joints and the kind of all that. John Cena. That's exactly right. Good job, fellas. Last one. We'll move on.
Stone
Not until I yell at Addy Pie, though. Hang on and get these super chats. Here's the last one.
Cold Steve Austin.
John Cena.
Oh.
The latest Last of Us voice actor to show up in the show was blank, who played a nurse in the season finale.
Laura Bailey.
Oh, well, there
That's
you go.
correct.
I didn't even know
And
that. So let me just fucking tell you something about this show, what's great about it. This is one of those shows that's good to put on, especially if you're driving with people who like games too, when you're driving somewhere long distance, because you play along with it. Even though you say, oh, I don't want to fucking do trivia, you can't help but be sucked in. It's a wonderful formula. Highly recommend it. The latest podcast going over there, the link tree below. Listen to this. Rambling Entertainment, or Rambling Entertain, has been a member of the Diet Soda Soldiers for goddamn 3 months. Thank you, sir. He says, hopefully the next God of War game doesn't use DSP as its target audience. With the puzzles, even Skyrim had more respect for the player's intelligence. Well, first off, thank you for being a member and supporting the show. I appreciate it, buddy. What I will tell you about that is there are articles, we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, where Sony Santa Monica didn't even realize that they were annoying people with the NPCs. They play tested it, and that never came up. There's a number of reasons why it would have never come up, but that said, I think they know they probably went too far with the annoying NPCs. But I think if you're looking for AAA games in the future to actually have puzzles like back in the old days, even as early as like 2012, you're looking at the wrong games, man. These games cost too much money. And I guess the stats show, the telemetry shows that you may find puzzles that almost solve themselves to be shitty, but the people who quit playing or stop buying because of that are dwarfed by the number of people who quit playing and stop buying because they have an experience with the game where they say, this is too fucking hard. Like, I almost can guarantee you, which is not much of a guarantee because it's almost, but I'll just fucking go on a limb. I can guarantee you, if Elden Ring 2 came out tomorrow, it would not do as well, assuming it was a similarly tuned game as the first one. I think a lot of people, and that's my favorite game of all time, but I think a lot of people bought that game on the hype and everybody was excited and everybody's talking about it. The percentage of people who probably got into Elden Ring and got their asses handed to them and had no idea what to do and will never go back to that series is probably meaningful. Now, they've probably scooped up enough new fans that it doesn't matter, but it's still worth knowing. But I agree with you. I hate games have to be dumbed down, but not all, just the AAA shit. CW, thank you for the super chat, buddy. He says, thanks for talking shit back to us shit talkers in chat. Next drinks on me. By the way, comics are for kids. Go fuck yourself with your mother's penis, sir. I would appreciate that. Thank you for the super chat, CW. I appreciate it, buddy. Wayne B. He's been a member for 4 goddamn months. Thank you, sir. He gives me hearts and Diet Cokes. What more could a man ask for? Hearts and Diet Cokes. Well, I know what I could ask for. There's no Taylor Swift in there. There's no Melissa Benoist, but I still appreciate it. Rambling says it's probably true, Jaffe, talking about AAA difficulty, but if that's the case, they're not for me. AAA, you're right. Gravedigger says unpopular opinion, but Ragnarok was the best God of War since 2005. I don't agree with you at all. I did not like Ragnarok all that much. I appreciated it, but I didn't like it. But I know a lot of people did. Fuck you, Bukaki. Go fuck yourself. Bukaki is, look, Bukaki is doing a callback to when he says, I can guarantee you Avengers will be the biggest game of the holiday season. When I said that, I believe that. But to be fair, I had not gotten to and I was only playing the single player. I had not gotten to the repetitive Hulk goes into the factory and just starts hitting monster robots over and over and over, and nothing ever fucking changes. I was able to base it on what I had played, and I'm like, okay, this is the fucking, I mean, seriously, the bridge sequence on the Golden Gate Bridge of the Avengers, the opening, come on. I mean, that's, you can imagine being a kid at Christmas time and that's your superhero game. Come on. It's just the rest of the game didn't deliver at that level. Addy Pie says, why are you ignoring my messages? I'm not. See? What I'll tell you, though, Addy Pie literally has the nerve. He's not a member of the stream. He pays no ducats for his free entertainment. And he has the nerve to tell me enough with the ads. Addy Pie, the best thing you can do is trip on the way home from your job at the dildo testing factory and fall off a goddamn cliff, you son of a bitch. Okay. Yeah, Wallace says, you're a very ignorable person, Addy. Yeah, I know. No, Addy says, yeah, and? No. That's it. That's all I had to say to you. Listen to this, though. Listen to this, Addy. This is just for you. Beloved Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle graphic novel, The Last Ronin, is becoming a video game. And it's being inspired. I'm really bothered by this, where they call it's being inspired by big action RPGs like God of War. God of War is an action RPG. Anyway, still, listen to this. 2020 graphic novel that told a grim futuristic story about the Ninja Turtles. The adaptation will be a darker, more mature take on the typically colorful Ninja Turtles. It's third-person action role-playing game. They compare it to Sony's God of War titles. They do have a developer, but they have not said who the studio is yet. They want it to be authentic to the story of The Last Ronin, which is set in a future where only one of the Ninja Turtles has survived. This is the description. The Last Ronin will be a primarily single-player game. You will be able to play the other Turtles and characters like Shredder, April O'Neil, etc. in flashback sequences, similar to how the comic series plays out, but the primary action is to center on only one surviving Turtle. I know who it is. If you've read it, you do too. IDW is the publisher of the comic. It was originally a 5-issue mini series targeting an older audience. And they're going to be doing that more and more with the Ninja Turtles, as people who grew up with them are now adults and they still want to vibe with the franchise. Now, I had never read this, so I bought it. It's really cool. Check it out. I'm looking at it on Kindle on my computer screen because I didn't want to wait for it to come in the mail. But it's really fucking cool, man. I mean, I don't know who the developer is. It's not, but I would love. Can you imagine if Kojima got his hands on something like this? I mean, that would be the shit, man. I would much rather have this from Kojima than a goddamn Cockadoodie Death Stranding Part 2. I mean, come on. This is really cool, though. So, I totally bought it on Kindle. So anyway, but what I was going to say, what I like about this, though, is it's really cool to see video games starting to get their inspiration from other sources. Like movies do it all the time. And video games, we'll base it on a movie or whatever. But the fact that it's like, oh, here's a graphic novel and we're not going to write our own story. We're going to build a whole game around this great story with these great characters that has already been created. I think that's not a bad idea. The world of comic books is insanely rich, especially if you get off and I love Marvel and DC, but if you get off Marvel and DC and you go to IDW or Image or whatever, there is so much rich and very well written content that I think the idea of video game companies coming in and saying, that's going to be our North Star, I think that's fucking awesome. I think that's fucking awesome. So I love that. I hope it's the beginning of a trend. I hope they have at Paramount picked a really good developer. So it's not like one of these things that's like, it's a cool idea, but they pick the guys who did the G.I. Joe games, which those are guilty pleasures. But come on. I mean, and I'm sure that studio would admit to you, they're not of the Kojima caliber yet, but it would be great to get that sort of quality in this particular style of game. Absolutely. Okay, listen to this. Lies of P, which is coming to Game Pass day one. I don't know. It's coming soon, right? It's a summer game. When's this fucking game? I don't know. It's coming out very soon. But I'm going to put this up while I'm talking. There was a, wait a second. CW says you probably played an hour. What is DS? Dark Souls or Demon Souls? I played many hours of the PS5 Demon Souls. I probably played 50 hours of that game. In fact, I played it online with the fucking head of Blue Point Studio, you fucking moron. And then I played Bloodborne and I finished Bloodborne and I've got over 160 hours in Elden Ring. Oh, Death Stranding? I liked Death Stranding, you fucking idiot. I thought Death Stranding was really good, but it's not the kind of game I would like to see Kojima making. It's slow and it kind of drags, and I'd much rather see him going back to something that is a bit more commercial, that is still esoteric and unique and interesting, but is not so fucking high on its own farts. High on its own fucking farts. They're not rookie numbers, you son of a bitch. Okay, anyway, here's the point though. GDC is the first time in a while that people have gotten their hands on Lies of P. Now, I don't know who else did, but there was a 11-minute video from the GDC show, and I'm going to play that while I read you some of this because it's really, I think, quite interesting. That is, if I can find it. Where did it go? Let's see, 1 second. Hang on, fellas. I'm sorry. Where'd it go? Where'd my screen go? Is that all you have, Bukaki? You have 0.01 hours in my mom? Well, she's like, I can't feel it. Come back when it's bigger. What do you want from her? She's a very busy woman. She's dead. She's still busy. All right. This is the gameplay from Lies of P. That was, let me turn down the volume here. That was revealed at GDC. It's really cool. At least I think it is. It's obviously inspired by Bloodborne. It is Lies of P. What do you think it's called? Owen says, Jaffe keeps saying Lies of P, LOL. What are you supposed to call it? It's literally spelled Lies of P. So obviously it's Bloodborne inspired. I don't think it looks as good as Bloodborne. It does run at 60 frames a second. I think the combat looks really fun. I think some of the weapons that you'll see in just a second, the weapons are really clever and cool. The enemy design is really clever and cool. I think it's cool. I'm excited. It's not Lies of Pi. Why would you call it Lies of Pi? It is day one Game Pass, yeah. This is writing from Wes Finland on PC Gamer. Here's what he says while you're watching the stuff. Why is it Lies of Pi? if the P is for Pinocchio, then it would be Lies of P. Why the fuck would you call it Lies of Pi? That makes no sense. And it's not spelled P-I. As far as I know, I'm looking at it right now. It's with a P, Lies of P. Listen, let me fucking finish the story, you fucks. Here's what he says. There are Souls-likes that copy the difficulty of Dark Souls on the Corpse Ruins or the Forlorn Fantasy Worlds. A lot of them copy all of the above, but the fonts, that's a level of shameless reproduction that makes me hiss through my teeth a bit, which is what I wanted to do when I started up the demo of Lies of P. The Pinocchio Souls game we've been mildly obsessed with since last year. The twist, which I'm still trying to process, is that it also seems like it's pretty damn good. Come back. Perhaps the most telltale sign here that this isn't Bloodborne is it's running at 60 frames. After Elden Ring's vast sprawl, the writer goes on, it was refreshing, exciting even to put my hands on a game that feels so much like the more constrained games From Software had made a few years back. I can agree with that. My favorite discovery in the demo was that Pinocchio has a mechanical arm, allowing him to take advantage of his not real boy status to equip a grappling hook or a cannon that fires explosive charges. I have to admit I'm seriously smitten with Lies of P. Seems to be taking its interpretation of the setting with clockwork soldiers, possessed marionettes, and fucked up clowns, just a few of the steampunk circus enemies I saw in half an hour. He says, I kind of love it. It's just that everything about it feels like it's skirting the razor's edge of copyright infringement over Bloodborne, but he still fucking loves it. He says, in my short time playing, there were a couple of warning signs, but overall though, he seems pretty fucking happy. Yes, I will check my stream title. The stream title probably says Lies of P. Would you like to see the name of the article? Oh my God. I don't care what it says. It's Lies of P. Okay, that's the name of the fucking game according to the article that we're talking about. I don't care. Shut the fuck up. I mean, literally, here, I'll show it to you. My God. Some gamers, baby. Lies of urine, that's right. Hang on. Let me show you this, you fucks. You dumb fucks. It's a silent P. That's right. All the P's are silent. Okay. Lies of P. If I spelled it with an I, it was a typo. Oh no, he did a typo. Oh no. Idiot. Shut up. It's a typo. Settle the fuck down. Owen's like, your stream title is Lies of Pi. The game is Lies of P. Oh, should I call someone? Should I call someone, Owen, and let them know the title is incorrect in the stream? Look at this, Owen. This is just for you. Look at this guy's weapon he gets in just a second. This is crazy, man. Look at this fucking thing. So he kills this fucking thing. He gets this weapon. Check this shit out. He's got this. Okay, so I think he's going to get this weapon that he can run people through with. Okay. Anyone saying this is like Bloodborne is on drugs says lit. I haven't played it. What I'm telling you is, what I'm telling you is that the guy who played it at GDC, the guy who played it at GDC said that it's so much, look at this thing, said it's so much like Bloodborne that he's surprised there's not a legal challenge from Sony. And this, look at that fucking thing. Like, the weapons are really cool. The world is really cool. I'm very excited, and I agree with what the guy who wrote the article said. It would be nice to kind of get back a little bit to look at this, watch this, come on, do it. To get back to a little bit more linear after Elden Ring. Spin it, baby, spin it. Spin it, baby, spin it. Come on now. Yeah, I have no problem with that either, it's being a clone of that. I like it when he spins it. Spin that fucking thing. Come on now. Yeah, I miss Bloodborne. I love that fucking game. Look at that. I love that little fucking whistle move. You can see. That just sounds so good. That just sounds so good. All right, whatever. Fuck you. All right, let's move on. Okay. You need to play Dark Souls 3. I will eventually. But after I finish Elden Ring, and I think I'm pretty close, I think I will move on to something not Souls-like. But I'll get back to it. Listen to this. We were talking about the GTA producer, one of the producers who's moved on to other things. This could not be worse timing. I could be wrong, but I have to imagine that if you're this developer, you are like wanting to jump off a fucking cliff. This was news yesterday, but when you put the pieces together, it's pretty negative. So if you don't know what this is, it's called Everywhere. It's from one of the GTA producers, one of the lead producers, and it's kind of two games, right? The first version of the game is like a Roblox creator set of tools, right? You can go to an action world, a racing world, a sort of a trading object world, or a district. And you can go, I think, to there's a fourth one, which is like a what's the fourth one? It's like a creation world where you can like make your own levels and shit. Okay. And they're saying it's pretty robust. It talks about the combat district is where players can take part in third-person shooting action, similar to sort of Fortnite. The main angle, however, is players can also use the game's extensive creation suite to create their own action stages and share them. It is really funny because it talks about to show off flexibility of the creation tools. We were shown a stage created by one of the testers. You search for these switches, and once you hit the switches, the entire stage fills with water, transforming the level. And I'm like going, hey, man, that's great. That's fantastic. That's great. Have you seen, I don't mean to be a dick, but have you seen, this is what you're looking at on your screen. I know you've seen this. This is Fortnite, right? So last week it was, or 2 weeks ago, it was Roblox showing you photorealistic environments, and people were like, holy shit, that's Roblox. Then last week, Unreal unveils the Unreal Engine Fortnite thing. I forget what they call it. It's like a UE something, blah, blah, blah. What do they call this fucking thing? UEFN, okay? And not only does it look staggeringly good, fucking good, but in terms of variety, again, what you're looking at right here is Fortnite. Okay. So all I'm saying is if you're these guys making Everywhere and you're like, hey, did you know that you could flip some switches and cause the world to fill with water? That's pretty dope, huh? It's like, well, look at this robot. I'm just like, come on, man. So anything that I have read in this game so far as it relates to Everywhere, which is the GTA guys game, unless there's stuff they haven't unveiled, feels very already dead and dated before it comes out of the gate, which has got to be a terrible feeling. I know it was a terrible feeling developing games when I thought somebody was working on something similar. But these guys are not only working on something similar, it's clearly better, and it's already out. So I don't know. They got themselves a hill to climb. They got themselves a Ted Lasso level pep talk they're going to need from somebody to keep them motivated. Yeah, I agree. Radical Desi says, I feel bad for the dev team. It's demoralizing. Agree. 100%. Adam says, I've never been into Fortnite. It seems this is getting pretty crazy. This is no longer Fortnite. This is basically, it is Fortnite, but Fortnite is now just a platform for developing. It's YouTube for video games. That's where it's going. Roblox is already there, but not at this level. So yeah, if you're trying to come in and be the third and you're brand new, you better come with something pretty cool. What they think, I guess they think is cool, is the game does ship with what they're calling a AAA game as well that they made called Mind's Eye. I don't know if you've seen this, but I don't think this looks very good. And so if this is the sort of thing they're trying to push to go, yeah, but look what we can do. I'll show you the game real quick. This is Mind's Eye. It's like 30 seconds. Check it out on your screen.
You have no idea how this tech has affected my brain. This thing has ruined my life.
You want to know what the Mind's Eye really is?
It's activating. I know what I have to do.
I mean, it looks fine, but they're like, this is AAA. And I'm like, that's not AAA. That's AA. Right. And Kevin says that already looks kind of generic. I agree. I'm not trying to piss in their fucking cornflakes. I'm just saying what a downer and if nothing else though, it shows you that people have been trying to make video game making easy for literally decades. There was a game on the Apple IIe back in the day. But when you're talking now with what's happening with Unreal, with Fortnite, and Roblox with Roblox Studio, and even Unity came out. I don't know if it's ever going to ship with some interesting AI creation stuff. We really are getting to the point where a lot more people are going to be able to jump in and express themselves through interactivity. And I think that's really exciting and really fucking cool. But anyway, he says, while Barb may balk, that's the guy who's running it, at the comparison, if the core third person and racing gameplay is solid enough and creation tools are user friendly as they appear, this could become more accomplished take on Roblox that appeals to a wider audience. I would agree if Unreal and Roblox hadn't already gotten there. Dean H says modern video games are getting better looking, but the foundation and game design is lacking. If you're talking AAA, I don't disagree. There are some amazing games being created, but most of them are not in the AAA space. But I think game design is in a golden era right now. But you got to be playing on the PC. Okay. That's interesting. CW says back in the day, painting was not easy because you had to source the right color substances. Eventually game dev will be just as easy as painting. Same with writing. Right? I mean, back in the day, if you wanted to write, there's no book binding, and you had to fucking make one book at a time, or with the stamps and all that shit. I mean, yes, I agree. There's still going to be a level of logic that needs to sort of roll in, but I'm with you 100%. I think we're definitely getting to the point, especially with AI, that sooner than later, people are going to be able to just talk to the computer and express themselves through interactivity. I don't think we're that far out from that. I want to make sure I got Wayne B's. If I didn't, Wayne B's been a member for 4 months. Thank you, sir. He sent me a hug, life. I think I did read it, but I didn't read it like that. So now I've read it both ways. Thank you, buddy. Thank you for supporting the show. I appreciate it. Okay. Come on down. Sorry. I'm moving the screen. 1 second, fellas. Okay. Dean H says no new companies have the balls to try new stuff. They have money to burn. Yeah, but they don't. I mean, that's the thing is it's less about the balls and more about going, we're a business and we're not going to make any fucking money if we spend all this stuff on ideas that are not proven. So, oh, absolutely. Radical Desi says, Rec Room is making a killing off that idea with monetized user creation tools. My younger nieces and nephews make stuff on there in Roblox all the time. Yeah, they're coming up. They're coming up with it. It's what's normal to them. Oh, Cantankerous Games. I played your game, by the way. I have some comments. I'll hit you up in Discord. I'm super behind on all my DMs, so I'll get to you this week. I promise. I'm sorry about that. Okay. Here's what's happening this week if you're looking for video games, and I know you are. These are the games that are dropping this week. Some of them are pretty good. Colossal Cave, which is a remake from Ken and Roberta Williams. That's gotten decent reviews, 7s and 8s. That's coming to Xbox tomorrow. Sifu is coming to Xbox tomorrow. Citizen Sleeper, which everybody says is just a fucking phenomenal visual novel. I haven't played it yet. I will. Crime Boss Rocky City, which is the fucking... I love the idea of all these actors, like 90s stars coming together, like Michael Rooker, Kim Basinger, Danny Glover, Danny Trejo, Vanilla Ice, Chuck Norris. But when you actually look at the game, it just kind of looks sort of, it just looks like a ripoff of Payday. The trailer is not very good at all. But this is coming out tomorrow if you're interested. Now, I'll talk about MLB The Show. That comes out tomorrow as well. And believe it or not, I want to fucking play that. Doomslayer says Meet Your Makers out in a week. I saw that one. It looks like it has a lot of potential. I played the demo. The demo may still be available on Steam. I believe Meet Your Maker is a day one PS Plus drop. And I don't know if it's going to do well, but it's pretty fucking cool. Michael Madsen and Michael Rooker. Didn't Michael Madsen just die? Somebody just died like that. That's got that vibe. Who was in Reservoir Dogs, right? Last of Us Part 1 comes out on PC tomorrow. Dredge, which is sort of the horror fishing Cthulhian Lovecraftian game, which I'm very excited for, is on the 30th, Friday. Last Workers Friday. Cosmonius High is a VR game coming out Saturday. Oh, it's Tom Sizemore. Gravedigger says, I was curious about Rocky City, but it looks pretty bad. It does. It looks really, really bad. Okay. I want to tell you about two games that are interesting. This one is going to be like, I can see it now. If Wayne B is watching, I'm sure he's going to be like, boring. Boring. Fine. But I can tell you it's getting some good reviews, and I just played the demo and I really liked it. So this game dropped today. Oh, I'm so sorry, you guys. I've got to get this fucking screen. I have two screens going. Here we go. This game came out today. If you're interested, give it a look. It's called TERRA Nil. And it's really interesting in that it is a city builder strategy game, but you basically go in and you terraform planets, and it's very relaxing. It's less of a city builder and more of like a puzzle game where you only have so many resources, and it's almost like Tetris meets a city builder. I get it. It's boring. Expand your palate. You know what it's like? I am like the ultimate foodie, and you guys are like 5-year-olds that only eat grilled cheese sandwiches and potato chips. That's what I'm saying. But this is fun. This is a demo. If you got yourself a Steam account, give it a play. It's called TERRA Nil. And it is genuinely, it's not like, it's got a little bit of Dwarf Romantic in it if you've played that. Nothing's wrong with grilled cheese, Wayne B. I love it. But I'm just saying there are other things to eat that are also great. But it's got a little bit of Dwarf Romantic. It's very cool. It's only like $15 or something. But it's good. It's good. Okay. Tomorrow, MLB The Show comes out. Now, I am not an MLB The Show guy. I love baseball. I enjoy watching baseball a great deal. Let's see. Terra Nova right now, or Terra Nil, is currently sitting. Let's see where the reviews are. 19 critics sitting at an 80. Come on now. Hello, Harbinger of Doom. Good to see you, buddy. Check that shit out. good reviews. And the only thing that's negative, even this is saying it's really good, and it's addictive, but it's just, there's not tons of content. So, okay. So let's move on for a moment, shall we? I'm not a big MLB guy, even though I do like to watch baseball, because it's just too simmy for me. But a couple things are happening with this one tomorrow, and it's on Game Pass. And I'm like, fuck it, I'm going to try this one. Okay. So I just want to tell you the things on MLB The Show that comes out tomorrow that have me pretty excited. The first one is obviously, this is on the PlayStation blog. They're talking about they've designed it and put in systems for casual and simulation fans. Now, how good that is for casual players like me, I don't know. But the fact that they have throwing interfaces, they have pitching and batting interfaces that are designed for hardcore fans, but also casual fans. Okay, it's quote free on Game Pass. Why not try it? That's number one. This is dorky and stupid, but if I really get into it, they also have a face scan feature where you can scan your face with the app and you can put yourself in as a baseball player. Come on now. How can you not want to do that? But that's not the main thing I want to show you. But let's see. I mean, you scan your face. It's, you could do this 10 years ago. There's nothing about this that's amazing, but it's just fun and stupid. So I'm going to be doing that. I'll make a little David Jaffe baseball player. I played Little League for a long time. Fuck you. Okay, so we got face scan going. That's kind of exciting. That's kind of cool. Then we've got, listen to this. This, I don't know enough about these games to tell you if this claims it's new for MLB. Maybe this has been happening in other games for a long time. But this excites me if I like the core gameplay. New in MLB The Show 23, play with your friends in ranked online co-op, 2v2 or 3v3. That's pretty fucking cool. If I'm fielding and you're pitching and you're shortstop and we're competing against 3 other people and it's on Game Pass so we can try it, I'm into this. This MLB has enough features that I will be coming to it with an open mind. The other thing I will tell you that has me interested is, and I'm sensitive to say the word, but that's the name, the Negro Leagues. Season 1 is coming. Now, what's really neat about this, and this deals with the baseball players, the black baseball players that had their own league back in the 30s, 40s, I don't know when it was, 30s or 40s. And it's not just you can play the players, but it's based on, they worked with the museum, which is the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum, and NLBM President Bob Kendrick is going to be hosting it, right? So what's cool about this, though, is it's not just the players, but as you play through it, you get the history. Now, I get that people are like, oh, that sounds boring. I don't think so, because I think it's fascinating and interesting. But also, the first time I ever experienced this in a video game was something like a documentary video game, was from... and I know it's quote documentary, but when I played WWE 2K22 and they focused on Rey Mysterio, and they literally they were seamlessly moving between matches that you could play and then documentary footage and archival footage and him speaking to the camera about matches coming up and how those matches affected his career and this, that, and the other. And it seamlessly transitioned to, we did WrestleMania, then the arena changes to WrestleMania. So it was the first time I'd ever played a game that also was a documentary kind of thing. And I'm not really into Rey Mysterio. And the new one does it for John Cena. I'm actually more into Cena than Mysterio. I may get that one just for that. But that's another reason I'm into this, because this period of history I find really interesting and obviously really important. And I don't know much about it. And I didn't even know there was a museum. I never heard of Satchel Paige until they name dropped him on SNL with the Alexa for old people commercial, which was great. So I'm into this. This is coming out tomorrow. I will absolutely be giving this a play. We'll talk about, we'll deal with that tomorrow. Anyway, fellas, look, there you go. That's your Gabbing and Games for Monday, the 27th. The 27th. Come on now. Thank you for being here. Thank you for subbing. Thank you for the super chats. I appreciate it very, very much. Sorry the show was late today. Like I said, hopefully tomorrow I won't be woken up by cops at my fucking door. If you don't know what I'm talking about, roll back to the beginning of this goddamn cock-a-doodle stream. I will see you guys hopefully on the next show. Be well. If you like the stream, hit the like button, hit the notifications, tell your friends. Here's the truth. Here's the truth. This show is the best goddamn video game show on YouTube. It is. It just is. It just is. You can't deny it. More people need to know about the genius of Gabbing and Games. So spread the word, my friends. But regardless, thank you for being here. Thank you for spending some time with me. And I'll see you guys very, very soon. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, mods. Bye, all.